Hey y'all, welcome back. It's Taren here with Legit Mom Life, and today I'm bringing you a brand new updated men's haircut tutorial. My last one did reach almost 1 million views. I'll link it right up here in case you want to check that one out as well. But today we're doing a haircut tutorial with a #1 guard. I did go back in afterward with a half guard just because Brian does like his shorter usually. So this is what we're going to teach you to do today. If you find this tutorial helpful, please do me a favor and hit that like button, subscribe if you're new, and also consider making a donation by clicking the link down below. And let's go ahead and get started. To begin, I'm just placing my guard on my clippers, and like I said, I'm using a #1 guard for this tutorial. However, any guard that you choose to use is just fine. It'll be the same principles. When going in with your clippers, you're going to do the C motion here. So you're going to start at the nape of the neck and then work your way up and then out and away from the head in that C motion. So I'm working my way up and out away from the head. And you don't want to go above the occipital bone for this part, and that's the bone in the back that curves up on the back of the head right here. Do not go higher than that because you want to leave enough room to blend in that haircut. A #1 guard is pretty short. That's just what my husband prefers. So I will say it's more of an advanced haircut, if you'll call it that. I've mentioned in past tutorials, I think the easiest guard to start out with is either a 2 anywhere to a 4 guard or even higher, just because those are a little bit easier to blend. But if you're ready, you can definitely try out a #1 guard and I'll teach you how to blend it in. So far this entire time, the lever on my clippers has been up. Now I'm pushing that lever down. What that does is it gives me an extra half guard. So whatever number guard you have on your clippers, it'll add an extra half. And I like to do that when I'm working up towards the top right in this section because it gives you a little bit of extra wiggle room to blend in that haircut. So only use it when you're working upward. Here I've got the lever back up. So it's a true 1 guard here. So only just do that for the perimeter, and then as you work your way up to blend, push that lever down to give you that little bit of extra length to make it easier to blend in. While working around the ears, you can gently push or pull back on the ear just a little bit so it's easier to work around this area. Now you'll see here, I pushed the lever down to give me that extra half guard, and I'm just blending that up, still in that C motion, just small strokes to blend in that side. If you can imagine a line from about starting at the temple area and straight back, you never want to take your clipper further up than that area because you always want to leave a little bit of extra room to blend it in next. So the key here is to gently kind of flick your wrist up and away from the scalp, and that will help taper in that hair and blend it in more easily. Then you'll just continue to work that line all the way around the head, not going higher than this area here. And then we'll do the exact same thing on the other side. So next you'll see me start in with the lever up, giving me that true #1 guard, and then you'll see me push the lever down to blend in those sides just how we did before. Next, you want to grab your spray bottle and evenly saturate the hair with water. Again, I always say this, but it's so important to have the hair evenly saturated. Any dry pieces will result in an uneven haircut. Next, you want to grab your hair cutting shears and your barber's comb, and this is how you properly hold hair cutting shears. Next, you want to comb everything through, make sure it's nice and even, and then I'm combing everything straight forward, and this is where we're going to decide how much hair you actually want to take off for your haircut. It is really important to keep in mind that when hair dries, it's going to shrink up in length. So to be on the safe side, you might want to take off a little bit less than you actually think you should, especially in this front area because it will shrink up a little bit. So keep that in mind when you decide how much you would like to take off here. And you'll notice I'm not hacking across in a straight line with my shears. I'm going up at an angle, and this is called point cutting. That will help your haircut blend even more. I don't know if you've ever seen those haircuts that have the straight lines all across on the top. That's what will cause that. So by always using point cutting and going in at an angle, even when we do the whole entire top section, it will help everything lay more nicely and blend in. Next, you're going to take about a 1-inch section down the middle of the head. So just make 2 part lines down the center of the head, and then we're going to comb everything straight up. And then you'll see in the very front, it's going to be shorter. That is our guide, and that's how you're going to know exactly how much hair to cut off. So right here in the front, you see how it's shorter there, and it's longer in the back. We're going to take that line and work it straight back. Again, with the shears, you'll notice I'm making small little snips coming in at a light angle right here. So I'm not directly cutting everything in a straight line. I'm taking small little snips at a time coming in at an angle. Again, that will help that hair all lay nice and smooth. And you'll just continue to work that all the way towards the crown of the head. And right here, you'll see at the back where it's a little bit shorter there, that's the section that we've already started to blend in. So you're just going to work that all the way down those sides. Next, we're going to part the section that we just cut in half and then pick up a little bit more hair next to that we have not cut yet. And then when you comb it straight up through all of that hair, you will see the guide that you just cut because you just picked up some that you just cut with it. So you'll see that through and you'll know exactly where to cut, working that guide again all the way back to the crown of the head. Then we'll just repeat those exact steps until we've completed the whole top section of the head. Now, with cutting with shears, you want to remember to never cut past your second knuckle, which is about right here. It's just a good general rule to help you not accidentally snip your finger. So you will see me, I'll go a little bit further than my second knuckle just because I have been doing hair for 15 years, so I'm pretty used to it. But as a beginner, don't go past that second knuckle. Next, you'll want to stand behind your client and comb everything straight up. And this is called cross-checking your work. So there will be some areas that you'll see are a little bit longer. And so working ear to ear, you're going to comb everything straight up and trim anything that is kind of sticking out and not completely aligned. So here you'll see this section right here is a little bit longer. So I'm just making that even with the other side. As I've mentioned in my other tutorial, we do a hard part on my husband's hair. As you'll see, it's longer on this side right here, right along that part line. If your client does not have that, you're going to blend in the hair exactly like it is on the other side of my husband's head. So essentially, everything will blend all the way around the sides of the head. And you'll just keep taking those small sections, working all the way from the front towards the crown or the back of the head. Next, we're going to work on blending those sides into the top section that we just cut. So we're going to do this by taking small vertical sections just like this here. And you'll see at the very bottom, it's shorter there and longer up top. So you're just going to continue that short guide at the bottom, cutting all the way straight up. And that will blend in those sides. So when combing it straight out, you'll see at the bottom here, it's shorter there. That's where I'm starting in with my shears and taking that line and working it straight up to blend that all in. Then we'll just continue the same step all the way around the head. Again, don't forget to re-wet the hair if you're feeling like it's drying out a little bit. Next, we're going to blend in what we just did before up towards the top. So this is the step that I'm talking about. If your client does not have a hard part, you're going to do this exact same step right here on both sides of the head. So you'll see here on the right side how it's shorter and longer up top. I'm just curving that line all the way up to the top. Again, here you'll see it shorter on the sides and the top, and I'm just working in that middle section where it's longer and curving that around and make it a nice blended line. And you'll just continue this step all the way around the perimeter of the head. Now, if you're using a longer clipper guard than a number 1, honestly, I think you can probably get by during this time with just blending with the scissors. However, if you're ready for the challenge and to really get that tight to the scalp blended look, I highly recommend getting a flat top comb and blending it in with your clippers. So I push the lever down on my clippers with no guard on it to give me that extra half guard. It's just a little bit easier to blend in. Now, when you use the comb, you'll see at the bottom where it's shorter and then longer up top. You're just going to run your clippers along that to make it even with that short hair at the bottom. So again, with that flat top comb, when you comb it up and out, you'll see at the bottom here it's shorter, so that longer hair up above, that's what you want to make even with that short hair down at the bottom. Again, when combing that out, you'll see that middle section, how it's a little more bulky and longer there. You're just, again, taking those clippers and running it straight down to be a nice even line with that short hair at the very bottom. And we'll just continue this step working all the way around the head. Next, if you want, you can spray down the hair again and then just make sure that everything is totally nicely blended. So you can work that line up just a little bit more if there's anything that you missed, and that way you're sure that everything is correctly blended. The easiest way to see that the sides are correctly blended is coming in front of your client, and then you'll see on the sides, if anything is sticking out, you know to go there and then do some more blending. My husband's hair is pretty thick on top, and so we like to use the thinning shears just to take out that bulk, make it a little bit more lightweight, and so it'll feather back and style more nicely. So the whole key to using thinning shears is to not go too close to the root of the hair, because then you'll just have little hairs sticking up everywhere. So just don't go too close to the root, and then you're just going to literally take them across and just make little cuts. So again, that's not taking off the length, it's just taking out the bulk. This is an optional step, so definitely don't do it if your client has thin hair or doesn't even normally have their stylist use thinning shears. Another key with using the thinning shears, especially on men's hair, is to not go near the temple area because it's naturally thinner there for most people, so definitely don't do it in that area. For Brian's hair, I typically just do it on the top middle section right here and then a little bit down the sides. As I mentioned before, we did a number 1 guard on the clippers for this tutorial. However, Brian likes his even shorter, so normally I go in with a half guard at the very bottom to fade that up into the number 1. Now, I will say this is a very advanced haircut right here, so skip this step if you don't want it to go any shorter, but I did have someone actually request how to do this, so that's why I wanted to go ahead and include this on this tutorial. The key to using a half guard is to take small sections at a time and do not take it too high, because then it'll be too hard to blend everything in. So I like to take the half guard all along the perimeter of his hair, working all the way around the head, taking those small sections and really using that C motion that I mentioned before and curving up and away from the scalp, because that'll make it even easier to blend in. Now I'm taking my number 1 guard back on my clippers and just blending in where I stopped with that half guard all the way around to make sure it's perfectly blended. Finally, it's time to finish up the haircut and use your trimmers, which these are going to give you that nice clean cut line along the edges of the hair. So on the back, if you can imagine a line straight across at the bottom, you can start in the middle and then just work that line towards each side straight across. Next, you can use your barber's comb to imagine a straight line from the bottom corner of the nape of the neck towards the ear. So I'm just carving a straight line, and the key here is to not go too far into the hairline. You essentially just want to nick the ends of the hair to make that straight line without going too far in. Same thing with curving around the ear. You can push the ear back out of your way and just gently curve around the ear without going too far into the hairline. If you go too far up, it's going to give you that white wall look, which usually no one wants. So just gently curve around the ears. And then next we're going to do the exact same thing that we just did on the opposite side of the head. Lastly, you can remove your haircutting cape and use your trimmers a little bit further down the neckline if you need to. If you post any pictures or video of your haircuts from using my tutorials, please tag @LegitMomLife to show your appreciation for these free tutorials. And here's the final look after shampoo and style. All right, here's the final look after shampooing and styling his hair. If you found this tutorial helpful, do me a favor and hit that like button, subscribe down below for more videos. I do post other videos as well, so be sure to check those out. Also consider making a donation by clicking the link down below in the description box, and I will see y'all in my next video. Thanks for watching. Bye.